Welcome to the Seahawkers podcast. I am Adam Emmert. I am joined today by my good buddy, Phil Leidick. Phil, we're doing an annual tradition that you came up with a couple years ago, an exercise that I think is really fun. We're talking about that sophomore year jump or slump. And I think last year we even added a stumped. So if we don't know exactly where we want to go with some of these guys, we've got an option. So welcome, Phil. How you doing, man? It's been a minute since we've seen you on the network here because it's been a busy summer for you. How fired up are you for this season coming up here in just a couple weeks?
I'm getting more and more excited. The real season's getting ready. The third preseason game waste of time is past us. So now we have nothing to look forward to but actual things that we can enjoy. Watching, discovering what this team actually it's our coach's sophomore year. We didn't include him on the list, but it's his sophomore year as well. So maybe he can jump and hopefully not slump. And I think we've had stump all along. Last year we didn't use it quite as much. Maybe we did.
Yeah.
You went back and listened to it to hear how we did, which I'm curious, Adam, because we've been doing this. How good are we at guessing whether the sophomores will slump or jump?
We're a little better at predicting the guys that are near the top of their draft class each year than we are towards the bottom. But I did have a couple stumped from last year, and we do like to hold ourselves accountable. So if we just rip through these real quick here, and I'll see if there's any of these that stand out to you or anything you'd want to say about them specifically. Let's start at the top here. So we had Spoon, and we both thought that he would take a jump, yet maybe not a statistical jump. Do you feel like that was a hit?
I think we nailed that one then. That's pretty much exactly what he did. Yeah, that's pretty much.
I think so too. So then that leaves us with JSN. And we both thought that going into the season, it'd be a jump for him as well, especially with Ryan Grubb's addition as the offensive coordinator. And we both hit on that one for sure.
Huge. He jumped in all the ways.
Yeah.
Every kind of way. Yeah.
Yeah, it jumped so much that DK and Tyler are no longer on the team. So that's how that worked out there. Then we went to Derek Hall. I had him as a jump. I think you agreed with that. You never declared it so much.
Yeah.
There's two of these that
you were right.
Yeah,
you were right.
Yeah,
he did.
Okay,
He jumped.
he did.
I wasn't sure that he would. I think that serves memory correctly. I was hoping he would. So I think that's just where I was, and I'm glad you were right.
Well, you did say that it wouldn't be a surprise that it was kind of that track that a lot of those edge rushers take is having that second year jump. That brings us to Charbonnet. I had a slump on Charbonnet just because of Grubb and looking at what I thought his offense would be, and he wouldn't have as many touches. And you said he'd stay the same. So how did you feel about that after the year last year, Phil, where Ryan Grubb forgot that we had running backs?
I think Charbonnet looked better last year than I anticipated and better than his first year. I think he took a step forward. I don't call it a jump, but he did take a step. And he shows me that if things go right in an offense, he can have an impact. He can have an impact.
Yeah.
I think he stepped forward. So I missed that one.
I'm going to give you the credit there because I think you were a little more high on that. And you're right. I think Sharps looked pretty good in the opportunities that he did get last year. So that brings us to Anthony Bradford. I had stumped on Bradford because I just didn't know where his development was going. And with the drafting of Christian Haynes last year, I didn't know how that was all going to look, especially with Grubb's new offense. And you were kind of in the same camp there. So I think I'm going to give us credit on that one because he didn't exactly slump. He looked a lot like he did his rookie year. But I don't think he took that jump.
I think we nailed it. I think we're just about hitting all of these so far. I couldn't even remember what I said about Bradford, but that sounds right. And he definitely did kind of a stump. Even this season, you look at it, we're still a little stumped, but I'm looking forward to this year for him. Yeah,
for sure. So Cam Young, we both had slump there because we didn't see a lot his rookie year. And I mean, he's not even on the team anymore. So nailed it.
We're just about batting 1,000, Adam. So maybe we should just stop right here and go to next year.
Yeah, that'd be great because
I like how this went, the list so far.
Absolutely. That'd be great because I missed on the next one, and that's Mike Morris. I had him as a jump. You were you were somewhere between jump and stumped, I think, on that one.
Yeah, he was okay last year.
Yeah, and didn't play a lot, so I'm not gonna take a W on a jump there from Mike Mo. But if there was a junior year jumper slump, I would say I would be on the jump wagon again.
Just like Bradford, both of those we would give him the junior year jump, probably, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. So Olu with Timmy. I had jump, you had a stumped, and he ended up being our starting center going down the stretch last year.
I still think I'm right. He wasn't awesome. He was fine. I think you look at his season and say, oh, we're set at center now. No, I think we're still just as stumped about. Well, actually, I think I'm confident who he is. He's a really good backup in the NFL. And if he's your starter, you're looking to try to take a step forward. So I like my answer. I think that meh is kind of how I'm happy to have him. I'm excited to have him as a backup. I would not be excited if he was our starter. What do you think, Adam? Do you think you were right on saying that's a jump just to be filling in and do okay?
Well, only because I allowed myself enough caveats when we made the prediction. Yeah, basically mine was, hey, he started one game and we could see him out there starting more next season, and that would be a jump. And so, I mean, by my own definition, sure, it's a win. But in terms of his quality of play, I don't know that you can say that was technically a jump. I would have been just fine with him starting this year. I think he's a very average center at this point in his career. I don't think he's bad by any stretch. I don't think he's great by any stretch of the imagination.
If every team has two centers, I say he's average. If you're saying average starter, I don't quite agree that he's that level.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I say average out of all the centers that are on rosters in the NFL. He's average.
All right. I would slightly disagree with that. I think he's an average starting center.
Wow. So top 16, 17.
Yeah. I don't think that's crazy. There's a lot of crap centers out there and bad offensive linemen,
Maybe I'm just in this particular offense, this running game. I don't think he's got it. I think there's probably 30 that I'd rather have that can get out and go on the center that we need to move. So maybe in a different offense, I could buy that.
I do agree with you in terms of athleticism with this scheme. It's looking as if Sundell's going to be a better fit for that compared to Olu, who's not known for being a tremendous athlete. That's why he ended up in the draft where he did, despite all of the awards that he won in college for being an excellent offensive lineman there. And that brings us to Jarek Reed. We both had jumps.
I guess we didn't get that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Little bit of a whiff. And then last pick was Kenny McIntosh, and unfortunately injured again this year. I had a stump. You had a jump.
I guess I bombed on that one as well.
He didn't play all that much. But when you go back and you look at this as a full exercise here, I think we did pretty dang good, Phil.
Real good until you get to, we're talking to guys drafted toward the end. Charbonnet was, even the way we called out Charbonnet, I thought was pretty close. So anybody in the top 2/3 of the draft, I feel pretty great about how we predicted for them to do. I could not have expected that I would have done that well. I might have expected you to do that well, Adam. You've been doing this much longer than me, but I'm very happy with how my predictions turned out there.
Yeah. So with that in mind, let's take a peek at these guys that are coming into their sophomore season from the draft last year. Some exciting names. And there's some guys that honestly, Phil, I go down this list and I don't have strong feelings about. And then there's guys that I have big feelings about. So we'll see how that matches up with you, Phil. So who do we got first?
Okay, well, we're going to start off with the non-drafted guys that have a place on this team at this time. And surprisingly, they could have some unique roles, but I'm just going to say all three of them, and you can kind of give me takes instead of just one at a time. Pick a guy out that you're excited about, or a couple guys. George Halani, of course, the running back. Jalen Sandell, we talked about him looking like our starting center maybe. And then Ty Okada, just this morning, it looks like he might be making the team because the other guy we mentioned, Jarek Reed, is gone. So of those guys, do you think we got some jumpers, Adam?
Well, for Ty Okada, I'm going to say stump because that's just kind of the neutral option that we have here. And I just don't think that he's going to get a ton of playing time, especially with Eamon Wari on the roster as well.
Be a special teams jumper if he does any jumping, right?
Right. But he had that one nice one-handed interception in the third preseason game. Maybe it wasn't an interception, but it looked good, and that was fun. Sundell, I think that's a jump for sure. I really like what I'm seeing out of him. I was dead wrong about him last year when I said I had no interest in seeing him at the center spot, and I really wanted to stick with Olu. For this system, he looks great with his mobility. And then George Holani, I'm going to say jump, and I'm going to create the caveats again like I did last year. But I think with all of the touches that the backs will get in the running game, we're probably going to cycle through all three top backs on your roster, and they're going to get significant touches. So not that he's going to be like, a revelation, but a good solid back who comes in and gets some touches and helps the team.
I just want to be on record with Sundell. I don't want to talk about the other two, Adam, if that's fine. No. I'll say Sundell probably have a couple bad snaps, that's very possible. We saw a little bit like that, but I think overall in the run game, he's going to be an absolute difference maker. And that's what we want to see, because the rest of the offense can come together if our running game's looking good. And he's going to be one of those pieces that can do what Kubiak wants to do, which is get out there and get the right guy so that we can have some really nice runs. I think he's going to make a difference on a few explosives this year. So I think we're going to be stoked about what Mr. Sundell. So I'm all in on the jump for Sundell. We go to the next round. We had 3 6th-rounders from last year's class, but only one possibly will continue on the team, and that's Sataoa Lomea. So DJ James already gone. Michael Jarrell just traded, I think. What do you think about Sataoa Lomea? Do you think he has a chance of making the roster or any kind of jump this year, Adam?
I think with Lomea, he's got the type of physical stature that I think a coach like Benton is excited about what he can do with him over time. But it's looked pretty clear that Anthony Bradford is going to be the starter at right guard. And it looks pretty clear that this coaching staff is not excited about Christian Haynes. And so if that's the case, then an injury here or there, you could see a little bit more of Lomea out there, and it'd be just like last year. So I'd go with the same for him.
Okay.
Although I think he would look slightly better in his limited opportunities than he did last year, which he had some games that were exciting where you're like, well, maybe this guy's the answer. Then you had some reps that made you really doubt if he even belongs in the league. But obviously DJ James gone, Michael Jarrell gone as well. How do you feel about Lomea as our backup swing guard?
I think we're going to go get somebody. I think Olu might be one of the swing guard center as well, but I think there's a good chance we go get somebody. I think it would be awesome. I'd love to be definitive and say, yeah, Lamea's going to get, because some guard's going to get in there. And one of them will get hurt at some point. I wish that wasn't true. It's just part of playing the position. Yeah. Every single play, their joints are all in a crazy situation almost. So it's amazing how many snaps they're able to do, actually. So a backup guard or two will get in. I think we're going to grab somebody off of either waivers or one of these free agents that's just waiting, doesn't really care to play in the preseason, just waiting to sign for the season. That will be our swing guard, but he's still got a chance to get in. I just can't be definitive to say he's going to make a jump. I'd be awesome if he does. He gets in there and just tears it up. That would be sweet, but I think he's probably a year away. Which means we will move on to last year's round 5. We have Nehemiah Pritchett. He made 8 solo tackles, got a few snaps in there last year. We definitely got to see a few things from him last year, but also the advantage this year, instead of us doing an early summer like last year, Adam, we've got to see a little preseason. So this should be to our advantage. Unfortunately, I don't know how we can do better than we did last year, but we have got to see Pritchett quite a bit in preseason. Do you think he's going to slump or jump, Adam?
Well, if we do worse this year, Phil, we'll go back to doing this earlier in the summer rather than trying to pretend like more information helps us. But I'm going to say, oh, boy, how can you say slump? He didn't even play last year. This is another same to me, although I liked what I saw from Pritchett in the preseason as a whole. I thought he made some nice plays, had some good coverage. I know he gave up the big shot to Matthew Golden in the last preseason game. That was good coverage.
Yeah, that's
Golden
right.
just made a really nice play, and there's not much more you can ask of a guy there. I like Pritchett, and I think he could. Him and Job, I think, are going to be battling for that fourth spot. Like, because
Okay.
I feel like Shaq Griffin, with his experience, is going to end up being the third corner, but we'll see.
So you think that it's going to, obviously we know who the top two are. It's Reek and Spoon. And then from there, when we have three corners on the field, you think it's mostly going to be Shaq over Job. And then
guess.
Yeah.
I don't feel strongly about that, but that's my gut.
Yeah, I'm tough on that one. I kind of think Job might get it, but I guess we'll have to see just by how kind of they've done some of the playing time. But it's really hard to tell with Shaquille because he came in at a time where he needs the minutes. And I'm thinking, well, Job's sitting out, so he's the sure starter, but they had to get Griffin in. So I still think Job might get the first crack. If he looks bad, we have Griffin. Pritchett's got some ceiling there that I'm not sure the other guys have. So, but it's just going to be so hard to get past those guys. I would love to give him a shot at a jump because I think he's got some neat talent. But again, he's another one that I'm going to say maybe 1 year away, which is great. It's good to have one in the chamber that we can bring out next year. Going to help a lot with contract challenges. We got to keep moving. Oh, and now we're getting to the more exciting names, at least in my mind. A.J. Barner, fourth rounder. He was our second fourth rounder last year. He had 30 receptions as a rookie, 245 yards, and 4 touchdowns as a rookie tight end. Can he do even more this year, Adam?
This might be my most fervent jump of all the dudes. I think he at least doubles his production in terms of numbers this year. And that's because
8 touchdowns.
Yeah. I think I honestly do. I think we could go there. I love the way that the coaching staff has talked about Barner in terms of just how much juice he brings to the team. And then with his skill set mixed in with what Clint Kubiak likes to do, we're going to see a ton of 2-3 tight end sets. He's going to get a ton of playing time. He's going to have a ton of opportunities. And I really love the trajectory of where A.J. Barner goes. I don't know what's higher than a jump, but triple jump. That's what I'm thinking, Phil.
I remember the triple jump. That was an Olympic event. Yeah. Sure thing on this. This is a definite jump. It's got to be one. He's our main guy now this year, and our team should be more effective. So I think it's a sure thing. 8 touchdowns might be a lot to ask, but I'd love it. I'm just hoping for a lot of chain moving plays, whether it's a good block or a great catch just across the line. If we get that, it's a jump. I don't really care that much about tight end statistics, but they are kind of fun. So we need to move to the other side, near area, but the other side of the ball. Tyrice Knight. It sounds like we heard some pretty good things from Coach Mike yesterday about his health, so we expect him to be out there. Last year, he pulled 34 solo tackles for a guy that's, on the field, 36% of the time, something like that. Had a sack and a half, which is kind of surprising from an inside linebacker. Do you think Tyrice, I know we need him to, do you think he takes the jump this year as well, Adam?
Absolutely. And this is a vote of confidence, not just in Tyrice Knight. It's a vote of confidence in Mike McDonald. It is looking at kind of the history of guys, especially defenders, I think, that come into the league, and he didn't start right away last year and eventually took over that spot. We all remember the big linebacker clean out right at the middle of the season. So to have a full offseason to really get acclimated to this defense, really get his chemistry down with Ernest Jones, I think it's going to be huge for him. I think his speed is top notch at the position, and his ability to recognize and fire and just shoot a shot, get to where he's supposed to be, is pretty darn good. And I think Coach Mike loves this guy, and I'm really fired up for this defense as a whole.
Yes.
And I think him and Ernest can be just a monster duo back there.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I wonder if he'll be I coach soccer. It's part of why I'm busy right now. And we're sometimes thinking, you got your 10th or 11th best player out there, but the whole team's good, and this person doesn't mess it up. I feel a little bit like that with Tyrice. Like, I'd like to say all these special things, but I think our defense will be special. I think the scheme will be special. There will be a lot of times where if I was to rate who's the most dangerous defender out there, he might be 10th or 11th, but he's still out there in a dangerous defense. And because the opposing offense might not be planning or preparing, we got to get Tyrice blocked up. We got to deal with avoiding Tyrice. That's probably not going to be the way the OC is setting up his play call. So I think he's going to get to make some big plays because of the guys around him. Does that mean he jumps? Not necessarily, but he is a second-year linebacker. I think he's going to do more. And so maybe this is a hope call, but I'm going to say jump. And this will be the year we get to see how he sparks. This will be the year we get to see what is special about Tyrice a little bit more.
I honestly believe that this linebacker duo, when we look back after this year, will be talked about as a top 5 inside linebacker duo.
Oh my. Okay.
So in the league, I really do think that it can
because they're that good, or because of how everything is set up around them.
Yes. And not only that, but I would add a third factor in that as well. We're watching the league finally figure out, if defenses are going to play this too high shell coverage all the time, we're going to pound the rock. We're going to get into heavy sets, and we're going to jelly it down your throat. And I think that will dictate that Tyrice Knight is on the field more just by personnel groupings that offenses are going to be running.
Yeah.
And so more opportunities, more tackles, and I think it's going to look nice.
So you think even still, he's not going to put E-Man out there just because he wants more athleticism, playmaking. He's going to, because of the opposing personnel, Tyrice is going to be forced out onto the field. We won't adjust
on early downs for sure. Yeah, that's my guess. Yeah.
Okay. I could see that absolutely. And I'm hoping to see something I think there's a good chance we'll see something special. He's certainly going to be in a spot where he'll get a great chance to shine. Okay, we might need a new word that rhymes with ump. We might need a new ump word here that rhymes. At least one's in my mind. I'll see if you're thinking that. But we have Christian Haynes. He was our 3rd round draft choice, and this is his 2nd year. Slump, jump, or stump, or do you have another word, Adam?
Chumped.
That's not mine, but I can see that.
Yeah. I mean, he seems like a fantastic human, so I don't want to disparage him as a person, but his body type, his athleticism, and or lack thereof, it's obvious where this team is going. And if I wouldn't be stunned if Christian Haynes wasn't on the roster come week 1, if not week 6, right? Just somebody that they eventually let go.
Yeah. So my word is dump. Not that he is.
Ooh, that's even better. Good job.
I just think it's possible that we dump him from the roster. And it's not because he's a bad guy or a bad football player. It's like you said, I don't know that he has what it takes in this offense. Some guys, it's just kind of like their clock. It might not be his overall athletic score is bad. It might not be his, physical qualities, but his mind doesn't seem to get him into the place to where he's getting in location on time or making the adjustment to the pass rush or the push to where he positions himself quite quick enough. It seems like he's just a tick behind. Like I wanted to use my hand there and it was just a little late, or I wanted to take that step. It was just a little late. That might come down the road. It might never come. I see it in different athletes. Again, I don't want to keep talking about soccer, but I definitely see where a guy's got all the stuff. He's always a little late to make that movement. That's my fear with Christian Haynes. And if that doesn't get solved, you can't put him on the football field. You can't. The rest of the team deserves better than a guy that's a little bit behind in everything, to where everything falls. I mean, you got 5 linemen. If one of them can't get the job done, it makes everybody look bad. And so I'm saying this is a slump at best. It's a slump this year for Christian Haynes. I know fans want to see him be traded. That sounds awesome. But what are we going to do? Are we going to send someone a 6 and get 2 7th rounders back? I mean, is it that kind of a trade? Because I'm not seeing it with him, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a bummer. That was one of the dudes I was wrong about. I really liked the pick when they made it. And his skill set isn't necessarily run blocking either. And that's obviously where we're going. It's going smash mouth physical. I love it. It's just odd man out for Christian.
Okay, we get to our final guy, and he's got some ceiling space. Everybody knows who's coming next. Our first pick, the guy we were all excited about, hoping we'd get. Byron Murphy had 8 solo tackles and a half a sack last year. That, I mean, obviously he's not in a stat position necessarily, but let's talk about his slump, jump, or stump. And if you're going where I'm going, let's say why, Adam.
Well, let me ask you a question first, Phil. I heard an interview with Byron this offseason where he said, I didn't work much on my run stuffing ability. I basically just worked on pass rush, and that's it. Does that encourage you, discourage you, or is it just about the same?
I think the context of that, I think I know what he means. I think he's
me too.
I think he's hungry. I think he's hungry to do the big splash thing a little bit. I don't know that the coaches are going to say you can be on the field by not caring about running. So I just think that I think you're trying to add a skill. You're trying to work at a particular skill. I can't imagine he sits there and the coach says, I don't do the run stuffing. Other guys take care. That's not what he means. I think I'm cranking up this skill that's going to in drives. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, he said specifically in the interview, he's like, well, yeah, I didn't work a ton on that because I'm pretty good at that. And
yeah,
that's why I'm trying to work on the pass rush. But I'll tell you, the reason why I asked you is when I initially heard it, it hit me in a way where I was like, well, I really need you to stop the run first and foremost. Like, if you can be a pass rusher, that's great. But that made me a little worried. And then the more I thought about it, I think I landed about where you did there.
Yeah, that's what I would have been worried about. And I thought that's why you're asking. But I'm not because, and I like how you put it, he's already good at it. But you can really focus on one thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So with Mr. Murphy here, this is going to be a really fun year.
Okay.
I think this is going to be a really fun year. Because you heard Coach Mike talking a ton about, hey, we're going to get him more at the 3 technique. We're going to try to get him so he's not just playing head up over the center a bunch. And that's really where he fits, the body type and the skill set and all of that. I really do believe that defensive linemen have an easier time making that second year leap. There's not a ton to think about, but you just need the experience of getting up in front of those NFL offensive linemen and the schemes and all of that. And he's got that under his belt. He looks sharp coming into this offseason, and with Hankins and Bohanna and Peely and Reed and all the guys that they're going to have up front, I think they're going to be able to utilize his skill set at that 3 technique or a little further outside than they did last year.
I think it's a jump for sure. There's just as you said, defensive linemen, they do take a jump if they're on the field. Experience. That's reasons number 1, 2, and 3. Why experience? All the subpoints is the chemistry you build with the guys around you, but also kind of knowing what you're up against. I mean, you've got to play some of these same linemen, same division, but just kind of how NFL linemen go about things. Now you can start adding to that and not just adding to it in your mind. Again, I think he does have a quick clock. I think that's inside of him. He can start to get where he's instinctual with his disruptive moves. Every team's going to have to deal with Leo. So if he's anywhere near Leo, he can't just have 2 full guys and somebody else on him, or Leo's going to completely destroy every one of their plays. Not to mention our coverage was looking so good by the end of last year. So it's not like he's going to lack for time to get there. I'm hoping that our pass rushers are taking a step, or we add a little something there to bring the heat from the outside. No matter what happens, I don't see how opponents can key on Byron. Not to say they were keen on him last year. I'm not giving him that excuse. I'm just saying all that experience, he's going to come back into this situation and know, hey, I had some of this. I had daylight here. I had the opportunities. And if he's emphasizing this offseason to say, what kind of moves, 1, 2, 3, am I going to do to get there, to be disruptive, to cause issues for the quarterback? I think he's going to have a plan. I think he's going to start executing it. And I'm thinking by the middle of the season, we're already going to know, yeah, Byron is a huge jump. He's making a difference. And it's just going to be which guy, him or Leo, is going to blow up the middle each play. We're just going to love it. This is one of the things I can hardly wait to see. How much Byron and Leo take turns thrashing opponent offensive plays.
Oh, absolutely. And then you think about it in terms of McDonald's history when he was with the Ravens, and they struggled the first half of his first season as DC, started to put it together towards the second half. And then the second year in his system, it just exploded. And they were just a menace out there in the league, just wrecking offenses. And so I'm going to throw in an extra one here, Phil. Slump or jump or stumped? Head coach Mike McDonald.
Oh, so you were already thinking that. I didn't think of it till the show started, but
I didn't either. But you said it, and so I figured we're going to run with it.
Okay.
I love it.
It's his sophomore year. I think he looks a lot more calm. Not that he was like a wildly wired individual, but I think there's a calm confidence everybody just looks to, and they're kind of like, yep, our coach knows what's up. He's ready for it. He's pocketed. He's taken notes. He's prepared. It's that same experience, and maybe underappreciated the amount of experience a first-year coach needs if they're not a disaster, like we've had with Jim Mora or whatever. But if they're not a disaster and they look like they know what's going on, but there's all those tons of other things as a manager, preparing for trips and how to organize your coach meetings and how to stack those so that you get to make sure that your direction is felt in each of those meetings. All those things, being able to do that more effectively and efficiently. Mike is exactly the kind of guy that cares about making that go better. Everything about what I see from his personality causes me to think he is going to take that currency of investment from last year, cut out the stuff that was waste, cut out the stuff that was in the way, and he's just going to be able to be so more ready to quickly manipulate or move the levers on the different coaches and staff the way he wants to, so that the team is almost all of what he wants it to be as the momentum kicks in halfway through the season. I remember last year, I was asking this on one of our shows. I'm like, how long this season, I said before last year, how long this season till we get to start to see the defense actually be what Mike wants it to be? We're probably going to panic a little bit because it's very likely he's putting in all this new stuff that the first part of the year, at least for a while, isn't going to be awesome. And it wasn't. But we forget. We get into the season and we're thinking, oh no, why isn't this defense good? This guy's supposed to be a defensive guru. And then we get to the end of the year and it's okay, now we're seeing all that he was hoping it would be. This year, he already has all that in, right? He has the same staff. He has almost the same players. It's just go from the start. I mean, it's like the racers that are ready to hit it. They know what's ahead. So, the jump isn't necessarily after last year, because that's crazy. The jump is the beginning of the year starts where last year was. To me, that's the jump. It's all that section of the defense trying to figure it out. Does that make any sense how I put it, Adam?
It makes a ton of sense. And you talked about kind of Mike trimming the fat. And I think that's one of my favorite things about Mike McDonald is when I listen to him talk and the way he goes about getting things done really lines up with the way that I try to operate when I'm doing really anything in life, whether that's projects around the homestead or any sort of job application. It's, to me, sequencing, efficiency, all of that stuff. That's what I care about. I want to make sure that we're not wasting energy or wasting resources or wasting words in terms of clarifying things for the players. And that's what Mike really, you hear him in his press conferences. He's been talking about that a lot, about the things that he's kind of trimmed out and how direct in his communication that he's gotten. And I think you combine that with the point that you made about there's not a ton of change on this defensive roster. Yeah. These are the same dudes.
Yep.
And they've another year with him, and with him more effective in that role as the chief communicator, I think is going to be huge. And then the other part of this is he's a head coach, right? He's not just our DC. Yeah. So I think one of the ways that he jumped a ton this year was looking at John Schneider and being like, we tried it your way. I tried this grub thing. And I know we were late in the process, and that was about the best we could get. But absolutely not. He's gone. And bringing in Clint Kubiak, who I think those two, their personalities, their philosophy on ball, all of it mesh so well that I think this offense is going to be so much more complementary to this defense in terms of style and physicality in helping each other with time of possession and all of that stuff, that I am super fired up with what Mike has done in terms of some of the big picture coaching decisions in jump. Yeah. I mean, we could finish, we had 10 wins last year. We could finish with 8 or 9 wins this year, and it could be way better, if that makes any sense, in terms of the defense looked way better. The offense really looked like it fit with the team.
Just because of how football games go. That's what you're,
Yeah. Everything worked out really well in terms of where the team is going, but it's an oblong ball. It bounced funny in one game. You get screwed by a call in another, or whatever. It could end up that we win 13 games too, if it really all does gel. Yeah. So I think, despite the record, I think the way this team looks, the way they operate, the way other teams view the Seahawks when they come to town is going to be a jump for Mike McDonald. I think a lot of these guys are going to be like, that's a big physical team I don't want any part of.
Yeah, and hopefully Sam's really good. And if he's not, if Sam isn't good, we could still say this was a good-looking team that's just that one piece away by the end of the year, and that could cause the record to be down. Now, don't all you people that think that, oh, now he's a Sam hater. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Sam's done it 1 year. I hope he has a whole bunch more. I just don't know that he will, and if he doesn't, that would cause people to maybe discount what is an otherwise really good team that plays really well, and a quarterback not getting it done costs you a lot of wins. It absolutely can. So I see almost no way that Mike McDonald doesn't take a jump overall in elevating the overall effectiveness of this team. Of all the ones we've mentioned, and I'm pretty confident about a lot, I'd be the most shocked if Coach Mike doesn't evidence a jump in his second year.
I would too. I'm with you on that. And hey, and for anybody thinking like that Phil was a little out on Sam there, I'm the resident Sam skeptic. That's for sure. But with that said, I have been watching a ton of his pressers and stuff lately, and he really is a good, nice guy. Yeah. Like he's easy to root for, and I am absolutely rooting for him.
My hope is he's Matt Hasselbeck for us, and we just have
that'd be cool.
We just have a whole team. We got a general back there that people like and can follow, does the thing that's needed when it's needed. That's if he does Hasselbeck, I think this could be a team that contends for a little while. If he can just be that. I know, and Hasselbeck, only reason I bring that up is because Hasselbeck himself said it. He goes, he just reminds me in his play and his manner a lot of me. And so I'm hanging my hopes on that. That's a guy that took us to our first Super Bowl. Obviously we had an incredible offensive line, but if he can be that, then the rest of the team does their thing. This defense is better than that Super Bowl team. I'm confident of that. So I know that's not what we're here to talk about, but I haven't been on in a while. So
absolutely. No, let it rip, Phil, because I know you've been busy through the summer. We haven't gotten you on as much as we needed to. And, one of the things, if you want to hear more of the gems that Phil spins out here, season's coming up here. We put out 5 shows a week, and the most unique preview show in all of football is What If. It's hosted by Mr. Phil here, Phil the Protector, and we go through all the different variations of things that can or cannot happen in the game coming up, and it's a ton of fun. So if you would like to see a little bit more of that, be sure to hit the like button and, maybe the subscribe button. That'd be pretty neat because things have really been kicking off here, and it's going to be a wicked exciting season, I think.
I'm really stoked. We got all these sophomore coach, a lot of stuff to see people take some jumps and the whole team take a jump. So with that, Adam,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.